Hello, everybody. Nathan Erznosnik, Nathan with the Grace Company, and
Mark Martin.
Good, wonderful. Yeah. We are missing Carla today. Carla Jerome's not with us. She'll be with us next time. We're going to continue to do live product reviews and informational presentations. One thing we will talk about is we also have a fantastic sale, but we'll get that a little bit later. We know you didn't come for the sale. We came to find a little bit more information between the 15 and the 19.
Yes, they did.
Mark, maybe as we get into this, we're standing in front of some hoop frames. We thought we would start with something a little bit different that still works with a 15 machine, still works with the 19, but behind us we have, what kind of machine behind you on the same frame?
We have a nice domestic genomic machine.
Domestic machine. And so Mark, maybe if you'll just kind of share, I thought if our audience was watching, I wanted to talk so that they could actually see that we can start where we're comfortable. And so maybe just talk a little bit about the difference between, and not necessarily all the details about the machine, but the experience, because Absolutely. We do have a domestic, we do have a 15, and we have a 19. So maybe just kind of walk through why we have a variation of options.
Absolutely. We have a wide option base for you as a user who has the domestic machine already. You know, they already own the domestic machine. You see it's on a frame. It's a growth process, right, Nathan?
So I love that word, growth.
Yeah.
What do you mean as far as growth? What is that?
So comfortable, right? You're comfortable with something, you're comfortable. So what you're going to do is you're going to use what you're comfortable with, or at least to start out.
I love that.
You know, you're going to start out with this. Now we know it's not the greatest, right? It's
not bad. I know Carla and I were talking about a couple domestic machines, and she says, you know, if someone starts messing with your knob, she's like, well, we're just going to swat those hands away, right? Yeah. Because they are comfortable using what they have at home already. Or they a lot of times they love their machines. I'm pretty sure you would say, yes, I have a favorite. And if I were to ask them, do you think they have more than one machine? Oh, yeah. Probably two. In fact, why don't you go ahead and comment in? I don't know how many, put what you have. Do you have 5? We've had people with several, but maybe we can throw that comment on. Jarek is in the background helping us out. Jarek, if you see a couple of those comments come through with how many machines do you have at home? And yes, I'll say Serger's work. We're just going to say machines. How many machines? Do you have embroidery machines, sewing machines? But sorry, but they already have them. They love them.
Yeah, they already have them. They already love them. And so we can start here. They can start here, and we're going to show them where they can end up with, with our 15 or 19. But they start here. They love it. They're comfortable. Okay. Then they can work up to a 15-inch machine, which is, you know, one of the products that we're going to review today is our 15-inch mid-arm. Okay. So they can start right here, but that doesn't end.
So it looks like it fits the same way. It just fits on the frame. So you say it can grow with you. You start with the domestic, then we can move to even a 15-inch machine, same setup.
15 machine. Okay. Then we go again to the same frame onto our 19-inch machine. So we have one frame to accommodate multiple machines up to 19-inch machine.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking, so we're saying domestic to mid-arm to long arm. I was standing in the back of the room and I was thinking, this looks a little bit different. They're really the same. The frames, you can stand up or sit down at them. So don't get caught up on the fact that a bigger machine necessarily you have to be down below.
Right.
And then this frame we're noticing is a little bit smaller. So this still gives us access to do any size quilt.
Yep. King or smaller. So that's, probably even larger than King too. So there's really no...
I've seen some pretty big quilts, by the way. I saw one on a wall. I'm trying to remember the measurement she gave me. I want to say it was about 140. It was crazy big. Each square was 2 feet. Mm-hmm. And I want to say there were 7 squares across that quilt. It was meant as a showpiece that they were using. So it was pretty crazy.
A big quilt. And that could be done on this frame right here. So, but yeah, it's what an opportunity you users have to know about these wonderful machines.
Love that. So maybe if I can share this too, if there is information on these frames on graceframe.com, you can also find a local dealer. We have a couple videos that show how to use them. So we're not talking again about the frames. We've done a couple videos on that.
Yep.
And again, I really like to recap. So I can start where I'm comfortable with my domestic machine.
Sure can.
We're going to talk about the 15 and the 19. And so there's really a couple steps that we can also take, and then there's some different type of frames that you might use those on. I know, Mark, we're going to go ahead and go to our second camera. Let's go over here, and we're going to look at this on a slightly larger frame. So as Mark and I kind of come over here as part of this is concerned, and now what I would really like to do is, Mark, I'll probably step behind you and have you work through showing. So there's the 15. Why don't you talk about with the audience a little bit about this 15 machine, what you like about it? I believe your wife has one as well. I'm not sure if she's upgraded yet to a bigger machine. Does she still have a 15?
She upgraded to the 19.
She moved to the 19, started on the 15. So why don't you talk about her experience with that, and then we can move to the 19.
Yeah. So the 15, I'm going to come over this way. The 15-inch machine, let me get it here in the camera.
You bring it all over here.
Yeah, let's bring it all in the camera. So what's nice about this machine is it's not much bigger really than a domestic. So really it's the...
Mark, you can mark. I'll just kind of move so you make sure you can have the whole space there.
So really it's the comfort, right? Looking at this machine, I know I can use it. I can understand it. It's not intimidating. And that's what not only did my wife love, but what I talked to a lot of the users is it's a mid-arm. So it's not the long arm. It's enough throat space to do most jobs that the hobbyists and enthusiasts are wanting to do. So, and it's cute. It's a nice 15-inch, so you get that large depth throat. And it's really easy to use. So one of the things that my wife really liked about it was the handlebars. You can access the features. So your stitch modes, it comes with 4 different stitch modes, 2 regulated, 1 basting, and 1 manual mode. So for those users who like to not use the regulating modes, you can turn that off and put it right into manual mode and you'll be just fine. But one of the things that my wife loved was everything is right on your handlebars. So just by a push of the button, she can go from precise or cruise down to manual if she wanted to. And then she could also change the stitches per inch. And so what's nice about the 15-inch machine is it can change from 4 stitches per inch up to 16. So it's very user-friendly, very easy to operate, and very easy to use. So the other wonderful thing about the Qzone 15 is maintenance on it. So it is a little to no maintenance, I'm sorry. But it's just really easy to operate. It's not challenging. As long as you know your thumb button right here, you can start it and stop it, you're good to go. So it's a very simple machine.
Great. I'm going to come back in front of everybody here a little bit too. I'll share a couple things. I know when I'm out there in the field and we're talking with consumers or we're at a show or we're at a shop, one of the good things I like sharing, you talked about low to no maintenance. If you think about your domestic machine right now, with your domestic, there's very little. You might go and have it serviced once a year. Some of you probably never. That's okay too.
Yeah, some of them.
But the bearings internally are sealed, and so there's no internal oiling. We do oil a couple key pieces like down on the hook and a spot on top, which we have great and simple instructions in order to help our users be able to do that. And you mentioned your wife. I know before she bought the machine that she was doing a couple a year, I think what it was. I told Mark, I said, just so you know, you might want to know that the fabric budget's going to change.
And it did. And it did.
Still does.
Still does. Yes.
And I know within the first year, how many did she do? I don't know, 10?
Yeah, 6, 7.
I know she moved and she'd done more than triple what she'd done before. When she got into the machine.
She did,
and it sounds like, again, that she moved to even the 19 now, so she was ready to move to the next.
Let
me maybe kind of point out, there are 3 different models of the 15 machine. What would be some of those differences? Maybe I'll just very quickly talk about the model number, then I would encourage you to go to graceframe.com. We do have a comparison chart. We have one that's manual only. It does not have stitch regulation. That's the least expensive. We have what we call a 15R, which is a regulated. So that's the one, Mark, you're talking about that we have in front of us with the 4 different modes. Those that might not know what stitch regulation, when you move the machine around, that's what keeps equal precise stitches. So it will speed the machine and slow it down so that you end up with that nice stitch regardless of how smooth you are in moving it. And then outside of that, this particular model, the R, does not have any touch screen, and the controls are done from the finger buttons. I know I like to talk about there's 2 big buttons on the handlebars. We have a big button on the right and then a couple small and then a big button on the left. The big one on the right just simply activates the machine, and I'm going to push that. That turns it on and turns it off. The one on the left, go ahead and push that for me, Mark, once. What that does is it takes the needle down and it does a half stitch. And so if you push it again, we can do stitch up, stitch down. That's how we would take and pull our bobbin from underneath. The other ones are to increase the speed, like if we want smaller or bigger stitches on the right. On the left, it's how we search our menus since there's no touch screen. The third model is the Pro model. So we have a 15 Pro. That one, we're looking at a 19 here with this nice touchscreen. What's really nice is as we've continued to develop technology, we've been able to bring some of the smarts from some of our bigger machines down the line, and our Pro now has that touchscreen. Maybe give us a couple other things. Why would somebody want the 15? And there's only a $500 difference. So if you're going to look at buying the 15R, currently I think it's on sale for about $4,000 right now. The Pro normally $4,500. The Pro normally 5 is on sale for $4,500. Why would somebody spend the extra $500 to go to the Pro machine? Maybe talk with the audience about that.
Yeah. So for size, first of all, let's look at size, right? So you're getting 4 more inches if now you're Pro the 15 Pro. 15 Pro. Right, yeah. Gotcha. So you don't get any, it's the same 15 inches. The Pro, you get the touchscreen. So the touchscreen, you also get a couple of cool features with the touchscreen. Not only can now you access from the handlebars, but you could have the touchscreen. With the touchscreen, you also have what we call needle jog. Okay. Needle jog is a perfect tool for those when your stitch maybe breaks or when you want to line up something back on your quilt. You can needle jog that needle down so you can get right on point.
So it helps bring it just above the fabric is one thing. Okay.
Yep. And it's also faster. So the 15 Pro does 2,000 stitches per minute, which is, I mean, that's fast.
Nice.
1,800 is what the 15R does.
Okay, so we're going from 1,800 stitches a minute up to 2,000. So a little bit better on the performance. I do know, I feel like the machine's a little bit more responsive. The machine tends to operate a little bit snappier is the word I use.
It does. It a little more precise. You're a little more precise. You know, when you do your needle down or when you start it, it just reacts faster. So it is more the precise. And so for $500 more, I would be doing that in a heartbeat. And I say but I'm sure the customers as well, because they're getting a faster machine, a more precise machine, and it's our newer machine. So it's for $500, you can't go wrong.
Good. With that, I do find that we find about half of our customers move to the Pro, half of them still stay at the 15. The price point's pretty attractive at right around that $4,000 mark. Now, I'm going to throw this out as we're partway through here. We did talk about the hoop frame, how it works with domestics, the mid-arms, the 15 and the 19. Currently, we have that on sale for $889. So for $900 plus your 4,000, so right around $4,900, you can have a completed mid-arm quilting system that can do up to king-size quilts. So pretty attractive price to get into it. Great way to upgrade if you already own a frame, just simply add the head to it, giving yourselves those other features and functions. I know there's a couple other things I wanted to maybe point out. Mark, this has, it looks like a built-in bobbin winder on it.
Yep, and all of our machines do. So the 15R, which we're talking about now, the 15 Pro, which we mentioned, and the 19, they all have that built-in bobbin winder, and it's separate. And that can make a difference. And what I mean by separate is I don't need the machine. I don't need it on in order for this to work. So I'm going to turn it on now. I'm not sure if we can hear that, but right now it's on without the machine running. So I could wind some bobbins before or after the project. And it uses the M class. All of our machines,
great
the large M class bobbin. Which is
compared to domestic, I like to talk that it's about 3 times as much thread on the bobbin, and you have a high-speed bobbin winder, so you don't want to take 3 times as much time. So high-speed bobbin winder, the bigger M class bobbin, which gives you a lot more quilting before you have to swap that out.
It does. And outside of the bobbin winder, Nathan, let's quickly just the threading of the machine too. The 15R and the Pro is such an easy machine to thread. So we talked about the maintenance on the machine, which is very simple, and the threading. So for me, when I talk to the end users, and for my wife, it's the user friendly, right? It's how comfortable you feel without being intimidating. And everything from bobbin winding to threading to maintaining, this machine screams joy. Like, it's not scary, it's very fun, and it's just simple to use.
Everything that you need to use the machine, to maintain the machine, to keep the machine up and going, are included with the product. Easy access, you mentioned, to videos, easy access. I know that I wish I had when we have a getting started guide and a reference guide that actually has a magnet so you can keep it on your frame. So that if you have questions like, how do I thread this? Where do I need to oil this? What about tension? Tension's a question that comes up quite a bit in the mid and long arm category as well. So Jarek, what do we have? Do we have a question that has been asked out there? Anything that a couple people would like to know that we can help answer about the 15? So again, if you have any questions, make sure to put those in the comments. We'll come back to some of those questions if you have those. question came out. Maybe Mark, so go ahead and repeat the question.
Yeah, so the question,
see if we can get that on screen,
yeah,
Jarek.
absolutely. So the question was, can they upgrade from the 15R for the 15 Pro?
To the 15 Pro.
To the 15 Pro,
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Whoa, you can upgrade the machines?
Well, they can, well, yeah, so they if they have the 15R, they can purchase the 15 Pro.
Oh, okay, but you can't upgrade the machine.
No,
you would
I'm
need
sorry.
to sell the machine, right?
Let's go back. Technical difficulties. So if you have a 15R, no, you can't keep that machine and get the 15 Pro components like the touchscreen
good clarification.
and the faster machine. So no, you can't.
So I'm going to throw a caveat. What about the 15M?
There you go. So the 15M, they would also need to get the 15R machine or the components because they can't keep...
15M, you can't convert a 15M to the Pro.
Correct.
Right? 15M, can I convert it to the R?
Yes.
So that is the only upgrade.
Yeah,
other than that, if you have a 15R, then you would trade in or sell the R in order to move to the Pro. However, let me throw this in because I think that's really elite. If you have a 15R, instead of a 15 Pro, what we would recommend is maybe next step. So Mark, why don't you go ahead and talk about what that next step might be?
Yeah, so let's move the 19 in here. So this would be the next step. Now this is a phenomenal machine. It is light. It is 19 inches, and it has the touchscreen that the 15 Pro currently uses. This also does 2,000 stitches per minute. So right now with the machines, what we know is very similar is this, the controls. And that's really good for the user who already owns a 15-inch machine is the controls are the same. So you're not learning anything new. So if you went from a 15R or the 15 Pro up to the 19, the same controls operate each machine. So you're already there with knowing how to control the machine, start and stop, needle down. Now with the 19, you have the larger throat. We also have threading illustrations that help you thread your machine, so it's an easier process. The 15s are really simple, but this even takes it to the next level of simplicity. Now, as far as simple as well, we have the thread tower right up here in the front. So changing the thread, you're not reaching all the way to the back. It's right up front. It does also use the M-class bobbins. It does 2,000 stitches per minute, and it has that same touchscreen as I mentioned before. The one that really separates this are the handlebars. If you notice the handlebars, this one on the 15R, they're fixed, and on the 19, they're adjustable. So it's a simple loosen that, and you can adjust it down or up, and you can even telescope it out. So now you're quilting in comfort. You're able to put it where you want and adjust it. So that is a nice feature on the 19. So there are quite a few upgrades from our 15-inch machines to our 19. So if you're looking at the Pro version of the 15R, that one question that came in, can you upgrade to Pro? You can't, but if you have that R for right now with the September promotion, which we'll get into a little later, I would go to the 19 personally, and that's what my wife did. She went from the 15 to the 19.
So it sounds like she kind of she did enough quilting where she's like, I'm ready for the next step on that. Now, I do know, maybe we can go kind of back here and say, Jarek, I think there were a couple questions that came up. Maybe we can put that on screen. One was about the frame and the compatibility. So I think the question was, what size machine fits on the Qzone hoop frame? And we have a Hoop Pro and a standard hoop frame. Which machine sizes again fit on that frame?
Domestic.
Okay, so domestic.
And really, there's like 5-inch. I would say domestic in general, right? We'll let you decide where yours is, but domestic machine.
Even I know there's some 13-inch domestic
13,
machines. Those also
14,
fit on there.
All the way up to our 19-inch machine would fit on
so
our hoop.
15, the 15M, the R and the Pro,
yep,
and then the 19. So
yes,
all of those fit onto the Qzone hoop frame. So that's a great question that kind of came up as part of that. Do we have any other questions that we'd like to kind of put up there really quick, maybe that we can answer before we continue with the 19? Oh, good question. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that, and then Mark, maybe you can talk. And so the question was, who does the maintenance on the machine? So maybe answer the question like, what is the maintenance? And so that way we understand, and then you can talk about, really it's you that does the maintenance, but what is the maintenance, right, and then why would you be the one doing it?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it's nice within your own home, you can maintain your machine. And what I mean by that is like cleaning. So our machines, they're sealed, ball bearing. The ball bearing bit is any moving part is staying oiled. They won't jam up on themselves because it is that ball bearing feature to it. So the inside is also sealed. So all the traveling components of dust or lint, you won't get anything going up to your machine. So right there takes a bulk of the maintenance out of your machine is just that alone. Now oiling the machine, that's one that a lot of people need to do on their own, right? And it's very simple with our machines. They have a spot up here on the 19, so you would oil the needle bar, and then you oil the bobbin hook. And our instruction booklet points that out with very good illustrations to show you where to oil and how many drops, when to do it after so many quilts. And in the end, that's really up to you. You could oil, kind of as much as you want.
I think when we look at this, if you're doing a big quilt, our bobbins are larger. We talk about every 3 or so bobbins, you're going to look at putting a drop just down on the bottom, what we call hook assembly. I would say on the top, you're going to do every 5 quilts, you'll put an additional. So the maintenance really on the machine is just making sure you keep it threaded. You're going to manage your tension. So if you run really thin or fine threads, you can run metallics. You need to set your tension according to that. If you're going to use thicker cotton again, you just set the tension. So that's not necessarily a maintenance, just making sure you set it for the thread you're stitching with. And so hook about every 3 bobbins, and we put a drop of oil about every 5 quilts. Outside of that, because it's sealed, Mark, like you're talking about, there's not I call it a maintenance schedule to pro. It's like it doesn't need to go into it either, correct?
Correct. It doesn't need to. The other bit that's nice, we're only a phone call away. So even though we're in Salt Lake City,
great point.
We have the best, and I'm serious about this, right, Nathan? The best, and we hear it when we go to shows, the technical support. And if you have any questions, you can call our 800 number. You can ask questions if you need to find out why, if you want to know something about tension or where to oil. Even though we have that stuff listed in our manuals, we are a phone call away. So please, you can get on. So you're supported basically by your manual. By us, Grace Company. When you own our product, it doesn't end there. We support it all the way through.
Wonderful, thank you. And I do love the customer service component. Again, outside of providing the tools to help it keep it up and maintained, we're just again a phone call away in order to give us a call for troubleshooting. I thought maybe it would be interesting. I'll just quickly note this. Like our encoders, we have encoders that track on the system. We have very simple cabling that's very robust. One thing that we've done in the industry is we've heard a lot with different types of brands that it's not that you move it that often, but if you're shifting or moving, that people are breaking encoder cables or wires or the way they go into the machine. We have a color manual that shows that it goes in this specific port. Literally, if you think about a hand phone jack, it's very easy, very secure. So we've made sure that the parts that do move or that you might interact with are very easy to put together and to maintain. So maybe as a piece, this comes in a box. And so I think we put the handlebar on, right? There's a bolt that we put on the back that bolts the handles on.
There is. So let's quickly maybe talk about the setup between the two of them. Let's maybe start with the 15 real quick, just how simple it is out of the box. So the handlebars come attached to the machine.
So this one specifically comes like we kind of see this,
like how you see it, exactly. You do need to attach the thread towers, what I called it in the back here. Or the thread mass, whatever you like to call it. The wheels come attached. So there's wheel pods back here on the side. They come all attached. The only thing out of the box that you would need to attach yourself would be the encoders. And there's one for the machine and one for the carriage. And this piece right here in the back.
I think we have just
and the screen. Yep. So, and the screen you clip in. So it's quick and easy just from the back here. And I'm not magic.
So some people also want to know, maybe we can talk about some of the accessories too, that you can buy rear handlebars. The screen pops out so we can use the screen from both the front and the back.
We'll leave that in there.
Screen comes out, put it on the back on the 19. So then the difference on the 19, it comes in a little bit of a different box.
Yep. Comes in actually a smaller box, which is ironic because it's a bigger machine. So you get a smaller, more slimmed down box. You do need to attach the handlebars. You do need to attach the wheels on this machine, the encoders, as well as a thread holder right here as well, and the screen.
I'm going to quickly just do a shout out. It looks like we have Joanna Semino, who just popped up with a comment. Looks like she just bought her 19. Congratulations on that. Excited for you to have it. She says, just upgraded to the 19. Love, love, love it. Thank you very much, Joanne, for commenting and bringing that in.
Thank you very much.
Sorry,
yeah, no, that's great. Those types of interruptions can happen all the time, right? We want those to come in. But yeah, out of the box. So basically between our machines, the out-of-box experience is simple. It's not a lot of setup. It is nice if you have two. You can do it with one, especially getting the machine out of the box. It's probably good to have two to lift it out. But setup-wise is very simple, very easy, and you're going to get that experience out of the box that you had hoped for.
Now, it looks like we had another comment from Tanya. She mentions Grace Company has awesome customer service and their Facebook groups and other YouTube videos as well. So thank you very much for commenting in on that,
Thank
Tanya.
you, Tanya.
We really do try hard to help that. And I do know there are different groups of support out there. It looks like Melita Sanders is also saying they have definitely taken care of me, would recommend them to anyone. Thank you again very much for that shout out. And we appreciate those comments and the support that we're getting from everybody out there watching as well. With that, Mark, I know there's some other accessories. So let's just briefly, maybe verbally talk through some of those accessories that you can have. Like I'm going to ask the question, I know this is probably on a lot of people's mind. What if I wanted to add a computer? What if I want to automate the system? Is that possible?
It is possible. So we have computer automations. We have two versions. We have beginnings and we have the pro version. But yes, Nathan, they can be attached to any of our machines that we have from our 15, even up to our 21. But right now, that's not part of the video, but 15 to our 19s.
Great. Now with that, I think you can give them for certain domestic machines.
You sure can.
Now, also, does it work on, this is, if you'll notice this frame that we're demonstrating, these couple machines on here is a larger, what we call a roller style, where the fabric rolls around them. We can get automation for the bigger frames. What about the hoop frames? Does automation work on that as well?
You sure can get it on our hoop frames as well. And they're right over here. You see one in the picture right there. So our hoop frame, pretty much most Grace frames, old as well, our old ones and our current ones.
I'd say call for compatibility.
Yep,
if you
call
have
for compatibility.
A machine from 15 years ago, but we do have a lot of capability on a lot of even the older frames and stuff.
Yep. And all of our current would hold our automations.
So, and with that, I like to bring out, there are two different steps. There's a beginning version, a little less expensive, and our pro version. And I want to just make this comment because this is not the case, I think, in general in the industry. Our automation, when it works with the hoop frame, regardless of the machine you pair it with, has the smarts that it can sew out the correct section. It helps mark it for you. Then it also helps you move the fabric so that you actually, I like to say that once you understand that it's doing this in zones, it kind of gets a little boring because actually the machine marks it, moves, tells you what mark to move there. You go back and find those marks. It automatically lines the pattern back up. Again, whether you're using it on a bigger frame like this or a hoop frame, it's amazing to know that the automation is there to help you move through all that. And we like to talk about it being as simple as an automation system can be. We really worked hard to let that first time computer experience, the first time automated sewer quilter, to make that process as easy as possible for them. So
we sure did.
Go to our website if you have questions and you want to look at a couple videos. We have them on graceframe.com.
Outside, Nathan, real quick, outside the automation, let's look at some of the maybe smaller accessories, right? We have our laser that's compatible with our unique machines, also a laser for the domestic machines. We have tracing paper patterns. Yep, perfect for tracing paper patterns. We also have our pattern set. It's a basic plastic set that can go on there, which gives you another element of pantographs. And it's one that doesn't take any learning. So they can just get that right out of the box. No learning necessary. You pop that right onto your frame, put the stylus on, and you're good to go. So that's quick and simple. And we also have rulers. We have
you have the ruler base as well, right?
Yep, rulers. We have idler bar for the rolling rail continuum, batting bar as well. So there are many accessories that they can get.
How about feet? Are there different feet that you can get for different functions?
Yeah. So we have a 3-piece and a 9-piece foot set. The 9-piece is great because you also get, if you're talking about the automation, glide foot. Now, glide foot is very popular for automation. So if you're looking to get automation, get the 9-piece foot set because in there you get 8 other awesome foot sets, but one in particular is the glide foot, and that helps you over the seams as you do your automation. So as it's just going on itself, it doesn't get snagged or caught up. It simply glides right over that. So
I think it also has couching feet, a couple other offset echoing feet, right?
It sure does.
From the ruler work, a 90 and a 45. So there are some different accessory feet that you can also get for the machines to do a few different things with them. Maybe in summation, if I can kind of share, we found that our #1 machine still is this 15R. It is our #1 selling machine. I think it's because it fits into the widest bit of people that are moving into quilting. When you start out and you're using a domestic, you usually find some frustrations. One is pushing and moving. It gets difficult. This is like taking your pen over your paper, so drawing makes it easier. Cost-wise, it's one of the most affordable ways to get into quilting as well. If you're talking mid-arm, has all the key functions that a professional machine would have. Now, the difference between the price, so let's talk about a little bit on the sale that's currently available at your local dealer or online. So the 15R is at $4,000. The Pro is at $4,500. What's the normal retail if you just buy the 19 on its own?
The 19 on its own is
$7,000.
$7,000. Ooh. 7,000. I was about to say the sell price.
By the way,
I was thinking the sell price because the sell price is only $1,000 more than this one.
More than the Pro.
More than the Pro. Yeah, sorry, more than the Pro. The Pro is
$44.99,
and the 19 sell price is $54.99.
So $5,500 is the price for a 19. Now I'm going to just challenge you. Go out and look in the industry and find out how much it costs to get a machine between 18 and 20 inches. You're going to find it's quite a bit more expensive than that. So we really are trying to do what we can to make these as affordable as possible. Right now with this promotion, it is a unique one. We really haven't done it across the product line. So 15s are on sale. You can just upgrade for $1,000 more. Than the 15 Pro to the 19-inch machine. So again, we had a couple comments from some of those people who had upgraded. It looks like it says, what is the cost of these machines? Again, just to recap, the current one we're showing is the 15R. This is on sale, normally $44.99, on sale for $39.99, so $4,000. The 19, what's its retail price, Mark, again?
$7,000.
So $6,999, and it's on sale for
$54.99.95.
So just right around $5,500. So again, $5,500, and this one's $4,000, but we have one right in between these at $4,500. So I hope that answers that question. Let's see what other kind of questions do we have that are coming up. Any other questions that are coming up as well in there? This is, where are these Grace machines and frames made? Maybe if I can answer, so I love answering this question. I have two discussion pieces I would like to make on this. So Grace Company, we have about 55 employees here in Utah, in Salt Lake City. We also have 50 over in our offices and our facilities over in China. All of our design work happens here. We have 6 full-time mechanical engineers, 2 electronics engineers that do all of our design work. We'll actually take a tour. You'll see some things here in about a month where we walk through our facility. We have all our prototyping machines. Everything is designed and tested, and we finalize those products all here in Salt Lake City, Utah. We then do manufacture them overseas, but what we do is we find very specific companies that do things very well. Example, I like to talk about our bearings, very high precision bearings, and it took us a long time to find a company that could manage them and make them to the specs that we wanted to. The same thing with the internal parts. Our employees build them and put them all together in China. They ship here to Salt Lake City, Utah. And then everyone gets opened up, and all of our final QC and sew off happens just here out back on our sewing lab, and then they get dispersed back throughout the world. So what we like to talk about is that the product pieces are made and assembled in China. All the final QC and those processes happen here in Salt Lake. And of course, they're designed in-house here in Salt Lake City, Utah as well. So I hope that kind of answers the questions on the manufacturing and the design. That lets us make sure that we can put the right quality touches, and we can control every aspect from the design to part of the build, and at the end, really most importantly, the sew off and the quality QC testing before they go back out to everybody. So any other questions we have out there that we can help answer for anybody? Looks like we have another one that says, do you have a video on how to use the pantographs? Good question. I don't know if we have a video on the pantographs. I'm going to say no, that we don't. However, I would just Google, because the process is actually the same for all mid or long arm machines. Is just pantograph quilting that is done. And I'm going to high level talk about this, a paper. Both the hoop frames and these main frames have what we call a table surface in the back that you would then utilize and quilt from the back of the frame with those paper patterns to trace.
Check out Grace Company too on the YouTube. I want to say that there's one on the YouTube. So check out the Grace Company YouTube and see what we have on there. Be surprised.
Great. Here's another question, Mark. Maybe you can read to everybody. No, we're good. Go ahead.
The question is, does the frame have a storage shelf like the old GQ frame had? Unfortunately, it doesn't. It is open. There's no storage shelf underneath.
So if we were to talk underneath the frame,
Yes.
yeah, there's not necessarily a shelf under
No.
it. You would just have the normal table, not usually for storage.
Right. Yeah. Not
Under
usually
the
for
machine.
storage. But the bottom is open quite a bit. So you can put cubbies down there. You could do some shelving and slide that right underneath. I know my wife, she gets plastic bins really, and then put your bolts of fabric in there and just slides it underneath. So that's, it doesn't, but you could do that way.
Okay, great. Looks like we maybe have another one.
Will the Grace Q19 fit on a Grace Qzone queen frame? That's a great question, and yes, it will. So the 19 will fit actually on all of our line of frames. So starting with our Qzone hoop to the Qzone queen, which is what that question was, up to the continuum. So the 19 will fit on all current Grace frames. The 15 as well would fit on all current Grace frames. We have one machine that we'll talk about in another video that only fits on one frame.
Yeah, it's our bigger. We have a big 21-inch, and that is locked down to the frame. That's the largest frame. So, but the 19, the 15 will work on any of the current Grace frames. So great question, and yes, it's compatible. One of the nice things is even if you're using your domestic, the 19, if you have the Qzone queen frame, it actually just sits right up on top of there. Really easy to put on.
It sure does.
As an upgraded machine.
It sure does. Another question here?
Nope. Okay.
No. All right.
So with that, I think maybe what we can look at, again, I'm just going to go over again, appreciate everybody for attending and joining us. We're going to continue to do more videos. Know and look for some videos that we're going to probably do here. I know on September 22nd, we're going to do another video that we're going to introduce and look at the differences between the 19 and the 21. We have an announcement to make. We've got a great set of events that we have planned coming up in October that we would love to invite everybody to. We've got a lot of free things that we're going to do to stream some information to people, do a little bit more education. We have some great guests that will be joining us as well. Outside of that, we're going to do a lot of giveaways. I've slated, and I don't know what this number is, so I don't want to share it, but I'm looking at giving away a couple full systems. We're going to give away a 19-inch machine on a continuum frame with the full Pro automation system is one of those things that we'll let people put their names into draw. We're going to give away a 15 on a hoop frame. True Cut, I don't know if you know, we make True Cut cutting threads. Finesse Threads is a fantastic thread that we also make. So a lot of exciting things to come. Encourage you to share this with your friends. Again, for other questions, feel free to call our customer service team. We also have chat if you want to chat.
And if I could just quickly say with the pricing, please check out your local dealer, or you can, go on a Grace Frame if there's nobody around by. We help service customers as well, but check out your local dealer for prices as well as graceframe.com.
Wonderful. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we look forward to talking with you here shortly in the future.